Full-time Devils, this is the Crystal Palace preview. Adam McKola, I want to come to you first and talk to you about injuries and potential youth players that could be coming in to replace the long list of injuries that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed we have now. So, players ruled out for the Crystal Palace game: Mata, Herrera, Lingard, Jones, not really a shock, Darmian, Valencia, Martial, and Rashford, a big maybe. Adam, who can you see coming in to replace some of those guys?
Jeez, I was hoping Martial might be available. Fingers crossed he still could be. But obviously the list of names is absolutely incredible. And it's just a problem that it's all come at around the same period of time. And they've all come in the same positions of the pitch. 2/3 of our main midfield three are missing. 2/3 of our main front three are missing. And that's incredible when you look at a front three that we could potentially field with Sanchez and Lukaku, and we no longer consider that to be our front three. And you consider that outlay that we've spent on those players. I know Sanchez was a swap deal, but he's huge wages. And when you take all those things into consideration, it is pretty shocking that we are now, looking at that thinking, geez, have we got enough? But it's just the way that we're playing under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the moment. Romelu Lukaku doesn't seem to fit in. And I think Alexis Sanchez, whilst he's shown glimpses at times of being the player we know he can be, he hasn't shown it enough, and we don't really have that confidence in him to deliver for Manchester United. So the injuries are a real problem, but what I've enjoyed about this whole last couple of days is, even if deep down Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's thinking, oh boy, this is going to be difficult away game against Crystal Palace, we've lost a lot of players, it's a short turnover to the next game. Even though that may cause him issues, he's not. He's playing the cards he's been dealt, and he's almost doing it, and he's doing it with positivity. So he's looking at the positive side of things. Okay, we've got these boys, Chong, Garner, Gomes, that could potentially come in. And he's speaking about them, and he's speaking positively. So although this is a big negative, and it's coming at a really critical time in the season, and it kind of half makes you think, if some of these players out for a prolonged period, it could affect us in the top four race. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is taking the challenge, and he's kind of using it to inspire the players that he does have left, rather than making those players feel like, all these injuries and the boss clearly doesn't think we're good enough. So I like the way he's approaching it. He's approaching it as a challenge, and he's showing the players that we do have that, he's confident in them stepping up. So I like the way he's gone about it.
Couple of players which have maybe been prematurely written off by some Manchester United fans, not all of course. Alexis Sanchez, Romelu Lukaku. This is obviously a big chance for them to step up. Statman Dave, how do you think they can fit into this team now? Or would you rather have youngsters coming in instead of those guys? We've persevered for too long with those guys.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he knows what he wants to do. I think he'll use experience with a bit of youth. I think he'll blend it together really well. I think Romelu Lukaku played good against Liverpool. I thought he was very responsible in his work with the Rashford injury. Moved to the right hand side, tracking back all game. Created probably two of the best chances of the game as well. You're thinking the through ball to Lingard, the cross to Smalling at the back stick, and he's getting a lot of stick. And I think Romelu Lukaku needs a few goals, needs the United fans to get behind him again, and he'll come good. He's a wonderful player. And I think it's one of these things where he's showing the right things for me right now. Put that with the likes of Chong, the likes of Gomes, and that's an excited front line. With and without Jesse Lingard and Marcus Rashford, of course, they've been the main guys going forward with Paul Pogba under Solskjaer. But I think it's now time for Romelu Lukaku to score some goals. I'm excited to see him against Crystal Palace. Lukaku is that type of player that you'd want against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have physical defenders, and I think that's the guy you want to play to. Sanchez showed a few glimpses as well against Liverpool. There was a few balls over the top that looked like the old school Sanchez. It was a bit more creative, but he needs to really turn up. I think Lukaku will have a far more chances under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer than Sanchez. Considering Sanchez wasn't brought on until he had to be brought on with following Lingard getting injured. So I think it's one of these things. Youth with the experience of Lukaku up front would for me would be a perfect blend.
Do you not think it feels though, Dave, at the minute like the whole squad has had a lift since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer obviously started as manager? Apart from those two players, Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, does it not suggest that they either don't work in Ole's system, or in Alexis's case, he's probably a little bit past it?
So these things happen. But I think Lukaku's in a different situation. He's a younger player. He's a player that still looks hungry, still looks quick, still looks sharp, looks like he's shed a few pounds. So I think, Sanchez could be one that in the summer you look at and you go, it's probably it for you, mate. But Lukaku, no.
Same boat, mate. I genuinely think Lukaku's in the same boat. I think I look at Romelu Lukaku, and yes, he created 2 chances for us. And I thought the first one for Lingard was a fantastic pass. But I kind of feel like that came as a result of him not wanting to shoot. If this was a Romelu Lukaku that had 20 goals, I think he has a shot from there. And I thought that at the time. And I think there's other positions as well where Romelu Lukaku, he'll opt to just drift and sit behind a defender so he's not an option for the ball. I'm seeing a player that's lacking confidence, doesn't think he can be a part of this team the way they're playing football. I see his teammates, like, sometimes I look at him and they go to play the ball and they're looking for every other option available apart from Romelu Lukaku until he's the last choice and they play for him. I just don't think he fits in with his system. And it's a real shame. Look, I wanted Romelu Lukaku at Manchester United and I still want him to be a success. But I just feel like something really strange has happened with him. And it doesn't seem like he's going back the other way to that player that we know he can be. It kind of seems like he's just staying out the way, not trying to get into places where he can make mistakes. And it's real bad. I know he had a tactical job to do that day. But if Romelu Lukaku is in form, if Romelu Lukaku is at his best, Ollie doesn't play him out wide. He plays him in his favoured position. So
he had to do that to cater for Marcus Rashford's injury. Rashford had a knock. He had that ankle problem.
No, I know that, but like you look at the Arsenal game as well, again in the FA Cup. He did okay there out wide, but we haven't paid £75 million for Romelu Lukaku to be a right winger. He's a half decent right winger at times. He's not a great right winger. His first touch is awful. His second touch is a tackle, and those sound like things that are becoming cliche about Romelu Lukaku, and people just throw him at him because it's the trendy thing to do. I'm a massive Romelu Lukaku fan. He's just not cutting it, and he doesn't look like a Manchester United player to me. I think Sanchez, he's kind of just finished, and it's kind of like we're watching Torres Mark II at Chelsea at the moment, or Falcao 2.0 when Falcao was at United. But with Lukaku, it's strange. He should be at the pomp of his career, and he's not playing like it.
But you take those 2 examples then, the Arsenal game, he creates both of the goals.
I know that, Dave. I hear you, and I know that. But when I'm watching him, even in that game against Arsenal, even in that game against Liverpool, even in games where you think he's done half okay out wide, he's whipped a good ball in, he can play a good cross at times, but we haven't paid £75 million for Romelu Lukaku to be stuck out on the right. And also,
he can only do what in the system, though, right?
Dave, he's a goal scorer.
Yeah, but he's playing in the system. He's doing a job.
He doesn't want to shoot. He doesn't want to make mistakes. And if you're playing like that, it's like when you look at Rashford misses sitters. He still wants to get in those positions to miss a chance again. And even if he's going to look stupid, Lukaku genuinely looks like he reads what everyone's saying about him, and he's just scared to go out there and play now. And I feel sorry for him. I'm not being really I don't want to be angry or anything towards him or be abusive of him because I like him, but I just think he's just a shell of the player, and it's really sad to see, man.
John, what side of the fence do you sit on here then with Romelu Lukaku?
I mean, I agree with Dave in a sense that there's a bit of a difference between Alexis Sanchez and Romelu Lukaku. But if you look at the difference, it's in terms of the circumstances, it's similar. The only difference I see is the age. I think in terms of the time that they have, Alexis Sanchez is a lot older. He's been through a little bit more in terms of his career. Sorry. I also agree with Adam in a sense that he does look devoid of confidence. But if I may interject, I sound a little. This might be sort of out of nowhere type of assumptions, but if you look at Romelu Lukaku's performances on the pitch, he doesn't really help himself when he's constantly out there, sort of giving off a very negative energy in terms of his body language, constantly, time and time and again. Before sort of he was shifted out of the first 11. Whenever he's on the pitch, whenever Rashford's on the left, or even when Martial was on the left or Rashford was on the right, whenever he found himself opportunities to sort of build up that synergy with his front 3 players, even with the midfield, time and time and again, whenever the ball wasn't played to him or whenever the ball wasn't given to him in his ideal circumstances, he's always kind of like the body language is kind of every single time. And I think that just kind of only adds to the negativity. If you're surrounded by young players and if you have that one dude in the team who's constantly like, yo, what the where's the fucking ball? Like every single time, this might sound very
sidewalk.
Get the fuck off the side. What the fuck are you doing? No, jokes aside. Like there's a time and place for everything. And I think if you're sort of mixed in with a blend of youngsters, I think that adds to the hindrance of the buildup of the synergy. And I'm not trying to beat around the bush, but my point is that while he's also devoid of confidence, he doesn't really help himself on the pitch. And I think this is all just an accumulation of poor sort of decision making. And I think Romelu Lukaku definitely must be thinking of that. It's just sad to see. I mean, like,
it's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
Yeah, but again, you look at, take Fulham as an example, plays up front with Paul Pogba in behind him as this role where he drifts from midfield into number 10. Between the two of them, Pogba passed Lukaku the ball once. As a 9 and 10 combo, you're not helping your teammate. You need to get Lukaku back into form. You need to be finding him. In that game, the player that completed the most passes to him was David De Gea. And it's one of these things where we all want Romelu Lukaku to get back into form. We need to just give him the ball all the time in the final third. Yeah, he may take a bad touch, whatever. Give him the ball again. Lukaku isn't a bad footballer.
No.
He's shown that in the Premier League. He's not a bad footballer. This first touch thing has become an obsession by the media, and it's something where the players
I don't know, mate.
It has.
We know he's not got a first touch.
Don't mess about it. It has become an obsession, and it's one of these things where we can't look past it.
Yeah, no,
he's got things he's good at and things he's bad
Where you
at.
need to play football in a team. When we played under Jose and he was in the box more and he was around the box more, I don't think it mattered as much. When we're playing in a team that needs to play football at a high speed,
Exactly.
it gets exposed a lot more. And you kind of suggested that the responsibility lies in part with his teammates to try and G the best out of him. But I think, what was it he said when Jose was here? We're all grown men or something like that. I remember he did an interview with the ESPN and he was talking about how we're all grown men. We should be able to handle it if the manager wants to criticize us. Well, mate, if you're out of form, you're a grown man. Get yourself out of it.
And that's my point.
Somebody else
exactly. Like all of that is like an accumulation. You know what I mean? The comments making off the pitch. On the pitch, he's making all this, body language, making him look so very negative around his teammates.
Okay.
When all they're trying to do is sort of help him, I guess, get back into form. And I agree with Dave. Dave, you're not saying anything wrong. I definitely agree. But this is sort of like reading between the lines. I'm sure people are going to look at this and say, like, what the hell is John talking about? But if you look at the little things, all of these things contribute to your performances on the pitch. And I think Romelu Lukaku hasn't made himself, available in that respect. And I think that contributes to all of that.
If you disagree with something some of the guys have said today, then make sure you get in the comments below. Talking Romelu Lukaku. I feel like he was just a player signed by one manager for a specific system. Now we've got a different manager and he doesn't fit into that system. It's a shame because I found it interesting your comments there, John, because I personally think that Romelu Lukaku's had quite a good attitude actually at Man United. He's just not fitting into the system for me. That's all it is. But anyway, we move on from the front of the pitch to the back of the pitch. Let's talk about the defence, the centre-back partnership, and our first choice centre-back partnership. We all sort of thought that Ollie was set with Lindelof and Bailly, but then Chris Smalling has come into the frame, who I think was man of the match against Liverpool. I think he had a great game. But Statman Dave, do you think they are our best centre-half partnership now, Lindelof and Chris?
No. Straight up, no.
Who is that?
Of the times Victor Lindelof is brilliant. Victor Lindelof is number one. We all know Victor Lindelof is quality on the ball. He reads the play really well. But some of the things Chris Smalling was doing against Liverpool, some of the passes he was giving, the likes of Ashley Young and Luke Shaw, was like bombs that he was throwing to them. Catch that one, deal with this one. So I don't think he's the solution.
I like that in my centre half.
So maybe he deserves a bit of a run in the team to see what he can do under Gunnar Solskjaer. The defence has massively improved under Solskjaer with Lindelof, with Shaw. What a performance from Luke Shaw at the week, against Liverpool. You got to say that. But I don't think Smalling is the long-term solution for Manchester United. I'd rather see Eric Bailly play as many minutes as possible with Victor Lindelof to see if he can step up, and that would be my preference.
Yeah, and I'm asking the question here, like, what is the first choice Manchester United centre-half partnership? I'm talking, like, right now. I'm not thinking, like, going into the future, going into next season, I want Smalling and Lindelof to be starting. Not at all. John Shin, what do you think our best centre-half partnership is at the minute?
Dave's spot on there. It has to be Victor Lindelof and Eric Bailly. Smalling at times, the conundrum that Manchester United fans always have is it Smalling or is it Phil Jones? You know what I mean? And then, like, the general vibe that you get from Twitter and the social media and even in the comment section is they're both shite, and everybody sort of says that. But I think it has to be said that Eric Bailly hasn't had a very long stretch of games. I mean, he's always come in and gotten injured. He's come in and somebody's sort of slotted in ahead of him, and he's always had this, like, sort of weird like rotation in and out of the squad. But if you look at Victor Lindelof, he found his consistency, and that's why he's been number one. And I think if you give Eric Bailly that sort of run of games when he's fit under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think we should probably see them become the solid choice for our starting center back partnership, because Chris Smalling has been great at times, and don't get me wrong, I'm not just here to roast Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. I mean, they have been our, loyal, faithful servants, but in terms of the quality, in terms of the future, in terms of right now, everything calls for Victor Lindelof and Eric Bailly, and I think that's what we need.
I think we've been saying it for a while, a lot of us, about Chris Smalling, really. I think, Adam, you've been saying something similar, that you can keep him at Manchester United and he can play a very important role as a squad player, but he shouldn't be a first-team player at United, should he?
No, I agree with that. I thought he did okay against Liverpool, but it's kind of like my expectations for him are here and he performed up to here, so it's kind of like he did better than I expected. I found it funny when Dave mentioned the way he passes the ball, because I was thinking that when I was watching the game, and it was like Chris Smalling, when you think I've got to make sure my passes get there, so I'll put a little bit more on it. He like just launches them at people, and people are like fizzing them in at the chest and the high end. It's quite hilarious to watch. Well, it would be if it wasn't in our defence. I think Bailly and Lindelof has to be the ideal choice, but I've been impressed with our defence and the way that I know against Liverpool we weren't going all out attacking like some of the games we have been under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer come in, there was seen to be this onus on United improving going forward and all that stuff. But he's also improved us defensively as well. Jose Mourinho, towards the end of his time at United, our defence was a bit all over the place, and we're starting to see a little bit of an improvement for that. Maybe because we're on the front foot more often and we're not having to defend as deep. But against Liverpool, we were defending quite deep at times, and we still looked quite strong. We were forcing them to go sideways and backwards. So I've been impressed with the defence, but I'd like to see Bailly and Lindelof playing more together.
God, do you remember the days of minus goal difference? Hopefully never there again. Right, on the way on the preview, we're doing score predictions. We're doing opposition, going to be talking a little bit more about Crystal Palace, and of course, the predicted 11s. It's going to be a difficult one today. It's all on the way. Okay, predicted 11s. I think I can guarantee that no one's going to get 11 players out of 11. Can we come up with a prize for this preview for someone who gets 11 out of 11? Because I don't think anyone will do it. We've got loads of injuries. What have we got, Chris? Have we got anything I can give away? Anything? What?
Your virginity.
I don't know what Chris has just thrown at me there.
We want your cherry, guys.
You want my cherry? Yeah. We have this flag to give.
Not one of them.
A replica Emirates FA Cup, not replica, it's an actual flag from the FA Cup final. So yeah, the winner, anyone who gets 11 out of 11 can have that today, sod it.
Yeah,
right. All right, well, it's a present for John if he gets it. John, what's your predicted 11, mate?
I'm going to go David De Gea at the back, Luke Shaw, Victor Lindelof, Chris Smalling, Ashley Young. Midfield 3 is kind of speaks for itself given the injuries and whatnot. I'm going to go for Fred, McTominay, and Pogba. Probably Pogba on the left, McTominay in that sort of 6th role with Fred on the right. And I'm going to go for Lukaku as our striker with Sanchez on the left. And I'm going to go for Tahith Chong on the right.
Okay, I'm looking at the predicted 11s tables that we've got. We work out like an average out of everyone who's been on the previews. And currently leading the way of everyone today on the previews is Statman Dave, who has an 8.8 average. So if anyone's going to get 11 out of 11, it's going to be Statman. Tell us, mate.
Ooh.
Let's be honest though, guys, I should be top of the league full stop. I've been on it, been about 25,000 previews, and 8.8 is a quality score.
18 appearances, 8.8 average score. That's decent.
2,500, Gads, you mean?
Decent.
Anyway, team. David De Gea in goal, Luke Shaw, Smalling, Lindelof, Young at the back, Scott McTominay in defensive midfield, Pogba, Pereira, Sanchez, Lukaku, Chong.
Only
Could
one
spend a bit of a
difference.
moment praising the Lord there, Scott McTominay, because he had a brilliant game against Liverpool, and I've seen a bit of criticism for him, square passes and all this malark, but going back and watching what Liverpool were doing and how they were setting the press to catch out, Man United's defensive midfielder, which was Scott McTominay, he played around that really well, and he deserves a lot of credit, covered more distance than any other player on the pitch as well. Shout out to Scott McTominay, good performance at DM.
Yep, a player that a lot of people saw in the team sheet and instantly had the head in the hands, but he had a really good game against Liverpool. Adam, what's your starting 11, mate?
John put Fred in his team, which is interesting. Because if he didn't come on in that game, I don't know when this guy's going to come on. Which is a madness, because £52 million. I'm not going to criticise Jose Mourinho, because I felt at the time a lot of teams would have signed him, and I think we were right to kind of be in and around for him. So
we got the song out of it, though, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we've got Fred the Red, so he's not.
Oh, that's a good point.
Needed for that.
Go on, starting 11.
You could say Pogba, no, Sanchez, Paul Pogba, and Jess. That's the next one.
Oh, that works actually.
Yeah. So anyway, United's team: David De Gea in goal. Luke Shaw was excellent against Liverpool. Has anybody seen Mo Salah? Right back Ashley Young, Bailly and Lindelof. Don't know why. Just let's go with it. Midfield of McTominay, Pereira, and Pogba. I thought McTominay and Pereira did themselves they did themselves justice against Liverpool. They did us proud in their performance. I was really impressed with Andreas Pereira as well. After the Burnley game, could have been difficult for him to kind of come into that game and play well. That's why I'm surprised that Fred never came in, because you had in Pereira's last game at home, he made that mistake, and then he's still coming in ahead of Fred. So it's really, really strange. But well done to them. I hope they can put in a performance against Palace. And then in the midfield, in the front three, Alexis, Lukaku, and you know what? I think Rashi will be there.
Okay. I thought it was going to be a full house for Tahith Chong then. Excited to see the lad start.
We were talking about FM19 last week. Tahith Chong's like my first choice right winger.
Mate, I won the quadruple with Ethan Laird playing right back. Like, honestly, seriously.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's weird, mate.
I've been trying to give hints to Sanchez that I need him to go.
Right, this isn't an FM19 preview. We're not doing that here. Let's move on and talk about the opposition. Adam, can you go in a bit more in depth talking about Crystal Palace? Tell me something I don't know about them, mate.
Well, I don't know what you know about them.
Not a lot.
But, I mean, their front three's looking pretty good on paper at the moment. In their last time out against Leicester City, I know they've just sacked Claude Puel and things weren't really going for them. And it seemed like the players had kind of stopped reacting to the manager's tactics. And Crystal Palace had a very good victory. You still have to beat what's put in front of you. Michy Batshuayi getting a few goals. I think he's kind of giving them a bit more confidence and arrogance going into games. That they've got an actual striker that can get goals. I know he's not top 10 in the world, but Benteke kind of become unreliable in terms of his goal scoring, and now they've got Batshuayi, who's a little bit of a character, is a little bit more enthusiastic. He works hard, and I think he kind of blends in well with Townsend and Zaha better as well. So it's an interesting front three that they have, and then I think the rest of their team we're kind of aware of in midfield, Milivojevic, but I do think the midfield is the area that even if we have McTominay and Pereira and Pogba, I think the midfield is the area we win this game. I'd still feel confident winning that battle, because yes, they have experience there, but I do think with the short period of time between the games, they might struggle a bit more than us.
John, Crystal Palace, how are we going to beat them, mate?
I watched their game against Leicester City. I mean, that was Claude Puel's last game, and I personally thought that Crystal Palace weren't doing so well before they started slotting in the goals. That's just my opinion. I think despite given our squad condition, I still think we have the quality to get something over them. Adam made an interesting point that he thinks this game's going to be won in midfield. I agree, but Crystal Palace, they have a decent sort of balance in terms of the way they structure their thirds, and I think I want to say that Pogba's probably going to have a very, 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 very important role this game, and that probably syncs up with what Adam's saying about winning the battle in midfield. But I think we have enough to take them. I think we do.
Statman Dave, who do we need to watch out for, pal?
I think it's more Roy Hodgson. I think he's an interesting bloke, isn't he? You know, he's been at Liverpool, he's been at Fulham, but he praised Palace's defense.
Roy Hodgson, I'm sorry, pal, but I just need to get this off my chest. I once travelled halfway across the world to watch England play in a World Cup with Roy Hodgson as the manager. I watched England lose 2 games and draw 1 game against Costa Rica. There is no praise for Roy Hodgson allowed on this preview.
Gaz, why are you watching England anyway? You got to remember United are greater than England 3 times and all that. It's absolutely.
Yeah, well, I've travelled further to watch United, so.
Unbelievable, mate. But no, Roy Hodgson, what was interesting post-match in the game against Leicester City is he praised their defensive outlook on the game. They won 4-1, but he said that they set up well defensively, and if that is something that they're going to do again, they'll sit deep against United. The only thing I worry about is if they have a man-to-man job on Paul Pogba. He didn't really shake his marker against PSG with Marquinhos. So if I was looking at that as Roy Hodgson, I'd be going, no, I'm going to do the same thing here. So if it is Paul Pogba that gets man-marked, it's got to be on the likes of Scott McTominay and Pereira to run that midfield. And I agree with Adam and John what they said. The midfield's going to be the sort of part of the field where United win the game. But you fancy the likes of Lukaku and Sanchez against their age in defence, against the likes of Sacco, the likes of Tompkins. They aren't defenders at the top level, but they will have they will have a packed field in front of them. They will get the protection, but it's all going to be about United on the ball, and if they can unlock the Palace defence. I think it's all about tempo, quick passes, one touch, in and around the box. Simple as United win the game.
Okay, Dave, sticking with you. What's your score prediction, pal?
4-1.
4-1, big. John, what you saying, mate?
Is Adam or John?
John.
I'm going to go for 5-1.
5-1, massive scores. Adam?
Sorry to burst the bubbles. I think it's going to be a score draw, 2-2.
He's predicting a draw on the Crystal Palace preview.
Yeah, midweek game, short turnover. I think it might be a tricky one for us. I can see him getting the first goal. We'll fight back, but...
Well, get in the comments below with your score predictions and try and tell Adam why he's definitely going to be wrong. Make sure you go and subscribe to all these guys. Yeah, obviously. Obviously, we all hope you're wrong there. Yeah, guys, get in the comments below. Get all your opinions in. And make sure you go and subscribe to all these guys wherever they are online. John Shin's on YouTube. Statman Dave, where do you want to send people to, mate?
Squawker, YouTube channel. Go and check it out.
Go and check it out. Adam is obviously right here on FullTimeDEVILS, unless there's something else you want to plug, Adam.
I'm on Pornhub sometimes as well.
I need the rhythm. Someone give me the rhythm. Give me the rhythm in the room. Come on.
He's under the less endowed category.
Check out Adam's new vlog. I thought that was really cool.
Go and check out Adam's new vlog. It's really cool there. John will do your plug-in for you. Right, we'll be back soon. All the fan cams will be there from Selhurst Park, obviously, and loads of great stuff coming up on the channel. So I'll see you next time. My name's Gaz. See you there in a bit.
You know what, guys? I've got to agree with Graham Souness on this, and I hate to say it, but I think Liverpool played 2 crucial games, and they've not scored in either. I think they deserve a Congressional Medal of Honor. Seriously, Green Beret, that's an amazing achievement, man. We're not worthy! We're not worthy! Jog on.
Hiya, James here, FullTimeDEVILS 32nd review. Now, I thought, to be honest, Liverpool were there for the taking of it. I didn't really think they were at their best today. Didn't really help with the injuries, though, to be honest, that we had. I mean, don't really know what he was doing bringing Lingard on. If he wasn't fully fit, he had other options on the bench that I think he could have brought on instead. I mean, not not sure about that. But anyway, that's so annoying that chance, their own goal was just like a millimetre offside or whatever. It was too good to be true for that to happen, wasn't it?